I work as a full-time ABA therapist, so that means applied behavioral analysis, which means that I work with autistic children who have problem behavior, and we work to resolve the problem behavior, and we teach them replacement skills and things like that. So I'm there, and then I come on Wednesdays and Sundays here, and I'm married to Judah, so it's like I'm with kids 24/7, 7 days a week. I asked him if I could say that, and he was fine with this. So. I'm going to start out with 1 John 4:19, and it says, "We love each other because he first loved us." All right, so I'm going to pray. Dear God, I thank you so much for this opportunity. Lord, I thank you so much for your presence. We love you and we honor you, God. I pray that you open eyes and open ears and open hearts to know you more, see you, and feel you more, God. I'm thankful for every person in this room today, God, and I just pray that you open their hearts to know you more, God. In your name I pray. Amen. So, God has given us the power to either elevate, encourage, and proclaim life or death over our kids and our grandkids. In Proverbs 18:21, it says, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat of its fruit." This verse hits really close to home with me and Judah. So this is multiple kids. This isn't just one kid in particular. We've had several kids have to deal with their parents telling them that they're stupid, or telling them that they have a mind of a 5-year-old. And it breaks my heart because I see the value in them. And we need to speak life to them. That no person ever deserves to be spoken to like that in any way, shape, or form. In any way. And I'm sorry, I'm crying. I didn't think I'd be so emotional. But it happened so much so to one of our students that they tried to commit suicide. And this is real stuff, y'all. This is the stuff our kids are dealing with, and I know it might be uncomfortable to talk about, but this is real life. And when I was preparing for this message, I really felt heavy in my heart that if there's anyone here today who has ever had a thought of suicide, or that they're never enough, that this is your sign from Jesus that you are enough, and that you have a plan and a purpose over your life, and he is not finished with you yet. I don't care if you're 2 years old or 98 years old. God is not finished with you. If you're sitting and breathing here, he is not done. He has a plan and a calling over your life. So I just want to say that, and if you ever have those feelings, please, 1, cry out to God, and 2, tell one of us here. The church is here to help you and encourage you and love you. So please reach out. Please reach out. But if you're a parent, God has given you one of the largest responsibilities in the world. And so often people shrug it off like it's nothing, and Jesus says otherwise. It says in Luke 17:2, "It would be better to be thrown into the sea with a millstone hung around your neck than to cause one of these little ones to fall into sin." That verse just proves how precious these kids are in our lives. And you don't have to be a parent or a grandparent to get something out of this message. I have 0 kids right now. And you just have to be a leader, and we're all called to be leaders. So if you don't have a kid, God has called you to love on someone, anyone next to you, anyone younger than you, anyone older than you, whatever it is. Me and Judah like to say that we have 25 kids because we picture ourselves like the mom and pop to these kids. And I'm so proud of these student leaders. Like, my heart was like so happy. Can we give it up to them for worship today? Like, that was amazing. But it's our duty to speak life over them, speak positively over them. How do you expect your kids to be open and honest with you if you haven't even shared your testimony with them? And I understand, ages vary. You can't tell a 4-year-old everything you would tell a 14-year-old, but you can tell a 4-year-old, I was lost, but now I'm found and Jesus saved me. You can tell a 4-year-old. They need to know these things at a young age. My dad didn't tell me his full testimony until I was like 13 or 14. And I'm so glad that he waited because, like, growing up, they told us little pieces of their testimony, but I did not fully understand what he went through, and I wouldn't have understood it fully at a young age. So, like I said, it doesn't matter what age, you just need to tell them what God has done in your life. Even, you know how to talk to kids. It's simple. It's so easy to talk to kids. And like I said, like talking about my dad, I grew up in a home that was so comforting. I told my parents everything. Everything to the point of like when I was like 4 years old, my mom, and she's gonna probably be laughing in a second because I used to do this all the time. But I would like, this is bad, so if you're a kid in here, don't listen to what I did. I used to lie to her, and I was like 4. She would ask me something simple, like, did you eat the last cookie in the pantry or something? And I'd be like, no, I didn't. Jordan ate it, my brother. And then literally, not even like 5 minutes later, I would come to her weeping, saying, I'm the worst daughter. Please, I'm sorry, I lied to you. I'm gonna go get in my room and sit for 20 minutes because I'm so terrible. And I really did that. Like, I don't know what kind of, that was Jesus in my house, I guess. That, like, what kid would go up to their parent and punish themselves? I don't know. But I grew up with a mom that I would always want to tell everything to. And my dad would always tell me this probably like once a year. He would come up to me and he would look me in the eyes and he would say, if you are ever going through anything good or bad, or if you're struggling with anything, you need to just stop and say, Dad, I need to talk to you. And that's the code word for me. I will drop whatever I'm doing if you need help with anything, and I will not judge you. I just want you to talk, and I will listen. And so I grew up with my dad telling me that, with me telling my mom everything and my dad everything. This is the kind of home that we need to create for everyone. I didn't know that that was, like, not normal until I started telling my friends, like, that I was telling my parents, like, who I had a crush on and stuff, and they're like, that's really weird. I'm like, what? But I'm looking at it now, that should be the new normal. Like, our kids should come to us when they're going through things good or bad. And wouldn't you want your kids to come to you if they were in trouble, instead of going to a stranger or seeking help from a friend that doesn't really have as much life experience as you do? Like, we need to be a comforting place for them. In Matthew 11:28, it says, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. This is the kind of environment I want to create in my home for my kids. This is the kind of environment I want for the youth group when they walk in the door. This is the kind of environment I want to carry when I'm just talking to people, when I'm interacting with people, just to know that Jesus is in us and we can provide rest and help people. He's the one giving us the ability to help people feel at home and feel at peace when they're with us. But creating a loving environment for your kids is vital if you want them to have a genuine relationship with Christ. It's so important, and we are an example of Jesus. And I just want to ask you, what kind of example have you been to your kids, to the youth around you, to your grandkids? What kind of example have you been? Proverbs 22:6 says, direct your children into the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it. Pray with your kids and for your kids. Speak life over them. And I also want to say this is just a side thing, but don't be a pushover parent. Jesus was not a pushover. You can look at any story in the Bible. He was not a pushover. He spoke the truth in love, and he spoke people up and out of their sin. He didn't condemn them and crush them and make them feel terrible for what they did, but he pulled them up and out. And that's the kind of parents, the kind of leaders that we need, the kind of grandparents that we need. People that can tell us the truth, but love us through it and help us get out of it, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. All sins are the same, y'all. All sins are the same. But be an example of Jesus to them. They know you aren't perfect, so they've seen you angry, they've seen you upset, they've seen you stressed out. So take that burden off, like you have to be this perfect parent, or that you might feel bad right now with me speaking, but they know you're not perfect. It doesn't matter how old your kids are, you can always start fresh with them. You can always start fresh. You might look back at your life and you might be like, well, I screwed up. No, you didn't. You're still here. Your kids are still here. You can pick up the phone and call them right now and rekindle that relationship that you had. It does not matter what you did. All you have to do is say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. That's it. Get rid of your pride. When you're a parent, you have to be the bigger person, always. It stinks, but you always do. When you're a leader, you always have to be the bigger person. Even if you're wrong, you just got to say, I'm sorry, and God will make it work. But I'm just going to end today with a little prayer, and then Judah's going to come up. But dear God, I thank you so much, Lord, for all that you're doing in everyone's lives here, God. Good or bad, Lord, that you always turn it to good no matter what. We thank you and we love you, Lord, and I just pray that we can be better representations of you, God, after hearing this today, Lord. So we love you. We want to honor you with all that we have, God. And Lord, it's all about you and not about us at all. God, in your name I pray. Amen.
Give a round of applause for my beautiful wife. Come on.